slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Breaking the sub 120 half marathon is definitely competitive. I know a lot of you out there, you may be one of them that are trying to break the sub 120 half marathon barrier. That is 6:06 per mile or 3:47 per kilometer for 21.1 kilometers. I think the biggest hindrance for most of us, regardless of what time you're going for, whether it's breaking 120 for the half or you're trying to break 2 hours and 30 minutes for the half, it's pace sustainment. Okay, it's improving the body's lactate tolerance, being able to clear lactic acid more effectively so that you're slowing down less than your competition. And I certainly know how hard the half marathon is, and to try to run fast over 13.1 miles. I started off, I ran my first half marathon when I was in college. I ran 1:13 and change. And I have a current personal best of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 6 seconds that I ran at the Philadelphia Rock and Roll Half Marathon back in 2007, so many years ago. But I do understand the types of workouts you need to be thinking about doing. I definitely recommend some of the things that I was doing. I like doing 6 to 10 1 kilometer reps. And if you're trying to break an hour and 20 minutes and run 1 hour and 19 minutes and 59 seconds, you do want to work your way down to a point where you can do those kilometer reps at around 3:18 to 3:20 with about a 2-minute recovery. Okay, that means you of course you don't start your build up running 3:18 to 3:20. Okay, first work at threshold pace. Okay, run your repetitions at around like 340 per K in the early build up of your training build up. And then give yourself a little bit more recovery, 3 minutes of recovery versus 3:18 to 3:20 per K with 2 minutes of recovery. So the goal is obviously to start off much more conservative because you're not in great anaerobic shape. It takes some time to get in that type of fitness. But I did like doing 10 1 kilometer reps training for the half marathon. I also like doing 6 to 7 1 mile repetitions on the track. Okay, and I always would usually start off around 85% of my best mile time. So my best mile is 4:22. So I would usually start off around 5:05 to 5:06 per mile. And of course, if I wasn't feeling great, I would start off around 5:15 to 5:20. You have to start somewhere. Okay, but you do have to get to a point where that 6:06 mile pace is no longer as difficult as it is in the early buildup of the early stages of your buildup. Okay, just about even if you're in great shape, a lot of athletes can go out and run 6:07 mile pace, 6:06 mile pace, for 5 or 6 miles. But it's another thing to hold that pace and to continue to sustain that pace all the way from start to finish of a 13.1 mile or 21.1 kilometer race. Other types of workouts I love doing was repeat 800s, 10 to 12 800s. Again, if you're in the early stages of your buildup, you want to start off doing those repeat 800s at around like 250 to 252 with 2 to 3 minutes of recovery, and then work your way down to where you're doing those at around 234 to 236 per 800, but with like 60 to 90 seconds of recovery as you get fitter. Okay, and in terms of mileage, there are a lot of athletes that work much better on lower mileage than others. I think running between 40 to 60 miles a week in most cases for many athletes is plenty for training for a half marathon and breaking the sub 120 half marathon barrier. But a lot of athletes need to be doing more, okay? Because it's an extremely fast time. 1:19:59. A lot of runners work for many years and never run that fast. And so I think that the additional volume, as long as you're paying attention to your nutrition, you're paying attention to your recovery, really taking it easy on those easy days. Okay, that's what they're there for. Okay, all the benefits of your hard training are going to happen in the recovery cycle. Okay, it's not the workout itself, of course, where those hard anaerobic workouts, whether you're doing like repeat thousands, repeat 600s on the track, repeat 2 miles on the track. Of course, those are vital and mandatory to run a sub 120 half marathon, but you're weaker after you get done with those workouts. So again, it's basically what happens 48 hours after you do that workout is where you super compensate. Your body becomes about 1 to 2 times stronger than it was prior to the start of your track session, okay? And you can't just be running slow and easy 95 to 100% of your week. You have to get beyond just running aerobic mileage. Of course, before you start any type of training plan, whether that's a 8-week, 16-week plan, or 20-week plan training for a half marathon, or even 24 weeks, spend about 4 to 6 weeks running easy aerobic mileage. Build your aerobic base, build that endurance, do some 50 meter to 100 meter strides a few times per week. So again, just reminding yourself of what you're training your body, you're preparing your body to do prior to breaking this 120 half marathon barrier. An even split or a negative split is optimal. That's the preferred method of breaking the sub 120 half marathon. I think so many runners, I certainly learned my lesson a lot of times over the years, trying to go too aggressive in the first half of a half marathon and really paid for it in the second half, okay? It's the same with the marathon. A lot of times you can be on goal marathon or goal half marathon pace for even like 10 miles for a half and then just fall apart in the last 5 kilometers of the race. So do your best to run a negative split. Run that second 6.5 miles of the half marathon faster than you run the first half. Your chances of breaking the sub 1 hour and 20 minute half marathon is definitely going to be heightened if you do that. Okay, because so many runners, it's natural to go out way too aggressive. Okay, but some of the workouts that I want you thinking about is definitely continue to work on your speed. Okay, even though this is a aerobic event, doing those repeat 16, I like doing 16 to 20 400s. Okay, at the early stages of a build-up, you need to start off maybe doing 8 400s and work it and do it. For an athlete trying to run 1:19:59, that might mean like running repeat 800s at like 1:23 per 800 with a 2-minute recovery, and then working your way to a point where you can do 16 to 20 400s between 109 and 111 per 400, but with 45 seconds to 90 seconds of recovery in between each one of those repetitions. Okay, repeat 200s, doing 10 to 20 200-meter reps, starting off 41 seconds with maybe 2 minutes of recovery in between each one of those 200s, and then working your way to a point where you can do those 200s at around 34 to 35 seconds of recovery in between each one of your reps, but you're only giving yourself 60 seconds of recovery between each one of those 200s. Again, the goal is overall is to be patient, be progressive in your training, and to build that ability to clear lactic acid more effectively so you can sustain your goal half marathon race pace from start to finish and break this sub 1 hour and 20 minute half marathon barrier. Make sure you're running the tangents in any road race, okay, whether you're training for a 5K or a marathon. Always run the shortest amount of distance as you can in the race so that your chances of breaking these barriers are heightened, okay? That means if there's a right-hand turn coming up, don't be running the far left-hand side of the road or in the middle of the road, okay? Some cases you're going to be in a group and you're running in the middle of the road, but you're running behind a group, so you're drafting off those runners. So I think sometimes in most cases, if you're not far away from the right-hand side of the road, if that's a right-hand turn, or vice versa, that's okay, because again, you're minimizing the amount of energy expenditure that you're exerting, and you're saving some energy until you get to at the right time of the race. Be confident in yourself and don't overanalyze and overthink this process. Okay, your training should be the most difficult part of your preparation. Okay, the morning of the race, that is the day to be relaxed and confident, to believe in your training, to go into it knowing that you've done everything you possibly can to prepare for this attempt to break the sub 1 hour and 20 minute half marathon barrier. Again, other types of reps that I like doing, repeat 1200s. I did a lot of those prior to breaking 107. And again, for an athlete trying to run 1:19:59, that might mean doing, early on, it might mean like 4 1200s in the early stages of your build-up and running them in like 4:30, 4 minutes and 30 seconds with a 3-minute recovery, and then working to a point where you extend that out to around 10 reps, 10 1200 meter reps on the track, and working your way down to around 352 to 355 per 1200, and giving yourself 2 minutes of recovery in between each one of your repetitions. Again, that's the key is we want to build up a high amount of lactic acid buildup and they really exert the body and really stress the energy systems of the body, but also work to a point where you're running your reps faster, but you're also giving yourself a little bit less recovery in between each one of your reps, because you're not going to get any recovery in your goal half marathon race. So work toward that as well. Continue to focus on the other fundamentals that go into running a fast half marathon: proper sleep, proper hydration, proper practice of drinking fluids and taking in gels in your long runs, running faster and varied pace long runs every other weekend or at least once per month, as well as running long, slow, and easy, because that's still vital as well to run a fast half marathon, and certainly to break 1 hour and 20 minutes. Get that long run out to around 16 to 17 miles in length. Okay, you're running further than the half marathon distance, but you're also building that endurance. You're strengthening the body, and that's really going to help you succeed in the end. So thank you so much for listening to this video. Hopefully these tips are helpful for you. Check out the resources below these videos as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. I definitely am certain and confident that they will definitely help you get to the next level in your training and racing. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.